Hi guys, welcome back to That's Mental. Today I want to talk about toxic positivity. It's a really important topic considering everything that we've been going through recently with the coronavirus, and although this is a new year, because I'm filming this in January 2021, it seems that things are still going to be difficult for a while. With that in mind, it's important to talk about this also and how it relates to our mental health. I consider myself to be a pretty positive and enthusiastic person, and so for me it's really important to be able to make a difference between what it means to be positive, optimistic, and then what toxic positivity is. Over the years there's been a growing movement towards positive thinking, the positive mindset, and that with this you can achieve anything that you want. There is some degree of truth to that. If you know anything about psychology or cognitive behavioral therapy, then you will know that your thought patterns do affect how you feel and how you behave. So for instance, with negative thoughts and depression, it means that you end up in a negative spiral because all you can think about are negative things and they just keep on piling on top of one another and it just never gets better. On top of that, it's often the case that what you think and feel is what you project and therefore what ends up happening to you. So let's say that you think nothing ever good happens and you keep getting into bad situations. It's quite possible that if that's how you think and feel, you will end up attracting more negative situations, and therefore then the cycle just continues. But this does also mean the reverse is true, so that if you keep thinking positive things and having positive thoughts and feelings and thinking about the best case scenario, that you are more likely to attract these things to you and more likely to have good experiences. Have you ever heard that just by smiling, you can actually make yourself happy and trick your brain into thinking that you're happy? I dare you to try it. It sounds crazy, but it actually works. So I dare you to pause the video now and just try it for 30 seconds and just smile and see how it makes a difference to how you feel. So it's true, a positive mindset does beget positive things. If you go about life being more optimistic and seeing the positive and the silver lining, then you're going to have a more pleasant experience. This is a mindset that I really try to apply to myself. I really try to see the silver lining in things and be grateful for what I have and just constantly remind myself of that. So that when I'm having a bad time, I try to put it into perspective and just think about all the good things that I have and how it could be worse. That being said, there is a time when this type of mindset and positivity can become toxic, and when it's taken too far and it's just not really helping you in the moment that you're in. For example, it's when people say things like, just think positive, you'll be fine, or like, just turn off your negative feelings, it's going to be okay. Which, by the way, I talk about in one of my myth busting videos, so you can check that out. But this is a really unhelpful thing to say when you're really having a bad time. It could also be people telling you to ignore your negative feelings, to just push them away, to push through, to persevere, to hide it, or people minimizing a negative experience that you're having and telling you that it could be worse. It's one thing for you to put things into perspective for yourself, and it's another when someone else tries to do it for you, and it might seem a little bit condescending to you, and they're like, yeah, but people are starving around the world, and you're like, well, this doesn't negate my experience, Perhaps it's not other people, perhaps it's you doing it to yourself. So perhaps you're also forcing yourself to feel better. Perhaps you are the one who's telling yourself not to show anything's wrong, to just keep going, to push through, to keep smiling and just act like everything is okay. The problem with this is that nothing good ever came of burying our negative feelings. And I also talk about this in my video about managing emotions in the workplace. So while I am quite a positive and optimistic person, I am a big believer in embracing the bad times and just going with it and sitting it out. I love a good pity party and just feeling sorry for myself. Yeah, some days I just feel like shit and I feel bad and I just want to sit around the house and do nothing and just wallow in self-pity and that shit moment. And honestly, I think it's fine to do that. Nobody has, 365 good days a year. And that's normal. That's part of what life is. That's part of what it is to be human, right? I find that by embracing those rare bad days, it's actually easier to overcome them and they just go away faster. Whereas if I was trying to repress it and pretend that it wasn't happening, it kind of gets worse. 1 or 2 bad days a month I embrace them, then the next day I wake up and I'm much better because I just accepted that I was having a shit day. One of the problems of toxic positivity though is that you're judging yourself and you're making yourself feel bad because you're feeling bad. Does that make sense? So you are being too hard on yourself and telling yourself you shouldn't feel bad and you should be better and you should be okay and you should be more positive, and this is when it becomes toxic. Here are a few things that you could try doing instead in those moments that you're not having a good day. Embrace it that you're just having an off day. It is what it is. Ask yourself what it is you're feeling actually. What is making it a bad day? Are you angry? Are you sad? Are you frustrated? Something else. Try to find out what provoked the feeling, because sometimes, let's say right now I'm frustrated with the corona regulations. There's nothing I can really do about that, so I also have to learn to let it go. But it could be that you're frustrated about, I don't know, something not working in your house, or, some delivery that's late, or maybe you feel you didn't work out enough. And these are things that you can change, or you can help to figure out and make it better so that you stop feeling so bad. And then some days you just wake up in a bad mood. There's no real explanation for it, and that's just the way it is. Accept the feeling and then see how your day goes from there. So don't tell yourself that you have to feel better. Just accept it, sit with it, and sometimes it just goes away. So when you wake up in a bad mood, sometimes in the afternoon you might just feel better and it's worn off. If you're with someone else who's having a bad time, try to really listen to them and don't brush away their experience by telling them to just feel better, or to just, insert other unhelpful sentence here. As with any other mental health issue, just give them the space and the time that they need to reflect and to feel the way that they do. Don't try to fix it for them unless they ask you for help or for advice, because this can also be quite unhelpful. In general, understand the difference between having a positive mindset and applying that to your day-to-day life, and the toxic positivity and what that looks like. Don't necessarily frown upon the idea of what a positive mindset can do for you. Don't dismiss it out of hand. Maybe look it up online and see what the differences are. Most importantly, just take what serves you and use what serves you from these different concepts. They're all concepts and ways of doing things. And at the end of the day, it's down to you to pick and choose what you like and what you don't like out of them, and what can help you and what doesn't. The bottom line is, yes, positivity is good for you, and so long as you apply it in moderation, so in a way that works for you, it'll be fine. As soon as you try to force it and overdo it, then it becomes toxic. So just be mindful of that. Particularly in moments like now, so again, filming this in January of 2021, when we're still going through a lot of lockdowns and a lot of people are struggling with all the regulations around COVID-19, don't be too hard on yourself, allow yourself to feel shit. It's okay, it's normal. Don't feel that you have to be better and you have to be positive and just, stick a smile on your face. It's normal to have these kinds of feelings. Make sure you listen, make sure you have compassion and empathy, and don't force anyone into feeling good, and least of all yourself. It's okay to go through hard times, and we're all gonna make it. Whether it's this current situation with COVID, or whether it's a personal situation in your life that you're going through, it's perfectly normal, and just know that it'll pass and you will come out the other side.